Alrighty. Namaskar, beautiful ones, and welcome to week 6, where we're going to be diving into not just a star, we're going to be going not just a planet, not just a species, but we're going to be actually entering an entire galaxy, a different galaxy beyond our Milky Way galaxy in Andromeda. And Andromeda has such a deep connection to the star seed incarnate because Andromeda predates the Milky Way galaxy, and our life, our existence, all flows from the ancient spiral galaxy that is Andromeda. So there's a lot to share today, and I'm just going to dive right into it. Okay, so Andromeda is the nearest major galaxy next to the Earth. It is the largest member of the local group and has a diameter of roughly 220,000 light years. So we're talking about a massive galaxy. It's located 2.5 million light years away, and this giant spiral galaxy contains more than 1 trillion stars. You heard that right, 1 trillion stars. So we're talking about a lot of life, a lot of planets, just infiniteness in this galaxy. Unlike most of the other galaxies beyond the Milky Way, this galaxy is actually moving towards Earth. So most galaxies are expanding and getting further away from Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. But Andromeda is moving towards Earth at a whopping speed of 110 kilometers per second. During its lifespan, Andromeda has consumed a number of other galaxies, and it's actually grown in size like the Milky Way. It's estimated that it has 25% more luminosity than our own galaxy. So our modern day astronomers have found that there's stars of different ages, types, and configurations in this massive galaxy. And the most interesting part about Andromeda would be its nucleus is actually double. It has a double nucleus. And with two nuclei, it kind of connects to the androgynous connection to Andromeda. We hear often the androgynous energy comes from the Andromeda galaxy. And even from a scientific reality level, this galaxy has two nuclei in the middle. And we're going to go more into that information. So some blue beings began to speak with me, and I'm just going to get off the screen share. Okay, so I just wanted to share a little information, and Andromeda is a very unique place, as you're about to find out. So a lot of the concepts we've worked with in this course, a lot of the meditations have interwoven in the concept of light language. And people often ask, what is light language and where did it originate from? And we know from this course, and we know from our personal experience, that light language is beyond a language, but it's a vibrational packet. And this vibrational packet begins to interweave with your DNA, begins to interweave with your consciousness, and open up certain aspects of you, open up certain energy packets of you. So this language was embedded in all star seeds, and we kind of have an awareness to it, just like the metaphor is a bird in the wild. Maybe this bird has been in captivity its whole life, and then one day it's freed and it's released into the forests or the jungles, and it hears one of its own sounds. It hears another bird chirping, and instantly it recognizes it. And just like this bird recognizing the sound of its species, so too that is the purpose of light language, to re-thread us into our cosmic knowledge. So a couple years ago, I think it was 2018, I was at a cafe with two really good friends of mine in Toronto, Canada. And we just decided to spend the entire day together. And over the course of the day, we realized that we all spoke light language, and our tones sounded and our dialogue sounded very similar. So before that time, I never engaged in a light language conversation. I've just pretty much relayed it or received it, and that was that. It was a one-way street, whatever avenue it was coming from. But as I was with these three friends of mine, I mean, with me included, and as we started to have a sort of dialogue and light language exchange, that particular day, I started to get translations to light language. And I began to understand that light language hails from Andromeda. And it is the origin of where these sounds come from. And as you begin to work with the Andromedan frequency and energies, we're going to find that these beings don't rely on like language. They rely on telepathy. They rely on vibration. And there's a lot of non-communication taking place. So the light language is kind of like the highest way in our dimensional plane to tap into this evolutionary frequency, and it's been embedded us by the Andromedans. So it's very amazing. And the Andromedans, working with them as mentioned, they work a lot with sound. But the thing is, sound on the higher frequency scale, you cannot hear it, or it's more subtle or less distinguishable to the human ears. So like, for example, a dog being able to hear a high pitch that we cannot hear. These Andromedans are operating on a seventh dimensional scale. And when they communicate to us, it will be perceived as non-communication. So being in exchange with the Andromedan family is a silent exchange. And it's really a place of reception and just merging your energy with the all that is. So it's going to be really exciting to dive into this. And unlike previous weeks where, we focus on a species, this week, since we're dealing with a galaxy that's so infinite, we're talking about trillion stars and infinite life forms, I felt it was best for us to just connect with this galaxy as a whole, receive some of the communications I've been getting, understand some specific places, and go on a journey to meet our Andromedan selves. They started me off by sharing something that haven't been done in the last weeks, but it's to share the traits of an Andromedan starseed. So some of the traits they gave me was these Andromedan starseeds have a gravitational pull closer to the Earth. Some of these beings have dived into Buddhism because the Buddha is from Andromeda. I know this sounds crazy, but I work a lot with the Tibetan frequencies. That's my cat running around. I work a lot with the Tibetan frequencies, and a couple of years ago, a collective of Tibetans that were broadcasting from a starship requested for me to leave the Earth and come with them to another dimension. And I knew I had service on this plane, so I turned down the offer. But in that interaction, I realized that there is a collective of quote unquote Buddhists. I know it's beyond a religion, but individuals who have been fused with that sect. And there's actually a planet in Andromeda where beings like Kuan Yin, Bodhisattvas, the Dalai Lama connection, and Lamas all go to in the beyond the dimensional plane. So these planets are very evolved on Andromeda, and it could almost feel as like the representation of heaven, quote unquote. So I turned down that offer, but it gave me a lot of knowledge to the human connection to Andromeda. Other traits of these beings, they're very rounded people and have multiple knowledge in many sources. They are centered in who they are, connected to themselves. They have steady growth and an adventurous spirit, and they have an androgynous aspect to them which will continue to flow through. Finally, an Andromedan starseed is probably very interested in twin flames. We hear a lot about this concept, twin flames, and I've never really gone too deep into it, but the concept of twin flames is very woven with the Andromeda constellation. So I started to connect with the species and I request them to share me more about this androgynous energy. And they gave me a very unique answer that I was not expecting. So when we think of androgynous frequency on our Earth or our dimensional scale, we think of a being who is balanced between his masculine and feminine. And they told me that is just a fraction of what this means on Andromeda. Because just like there are two nuclei in the center of Andromeda, this is how everything operates on this galaxy. In other words, there is a twin in Andromeda galaxy of everything. Actually, the entire structure of this galaxy is to create duplicates of identical energies. And this is why starseeds who come from Andromeda, and I would say we all come from Andromeda in some way, have a longing to connect with that twin flame part of themselves, because in Andromeda, that is a natural way of being. And this androgynous energy is the twins coming together. The energies are balanced, masculine, feminine, but the androgynous connection is when these identical parts of them in the physical reality of Andromeda come together and harmonize. And Andromeda being a seventh dimensional foundation that rises very high. I was hearing to the 29th dimensional scale, which I have no idea what happens on the 29th scale, but I hear it could go there. But since they're operating in the seventh dimensional frequency, there is a ceasing of individuality, as you would find on our plane, because the more we go down the scale, the more we separate. And the more we rise up the scale in sound frequency, the more everything comes together. Kind of like those experiments, you see they put a bunch of grains of rice on a plate, and then they play like a Tibetan bowl or crystal bowl, and everything seems to organize in structure. And depending on the sound frequency, the rices could all separate, but when they play certain higher pitched notes, they create these geometric patterns. And this is what it's like as we climb up the dimensional scale. So in seventh dimension Andromeda, everything is a oneness. Everything is a harmony. And they're operating in a very different level of consciousness than we have been brought up in this third dimensional plane from the past, of course. So the twin flame concept, or the androgynous concept, is when your reflection of yourself, you see yourself and you merge with that energetically. And we get a taste of that on our earth, but the school system is very different. So on the three-dimensional plane or earth school, instead of a vibrational twin identicalness with everything in the reality, instead we get the shadow and the light. So this school is to find the harmony between the shadow and light, which I would say is much more challenging than being in a school where you find your identical component. So first off, props to you all for being in this school, because compared to Andromeda, oh man, this is the real place of hard learning. But back to Andromeda, so when the Andromedan beings merge together in their twin flame, they actually become a different frequency. And they gave me a strange example, but it made a lot of sense to look at the cartoon Transformers. I don't know if anyone's aware of that, but it was when I was a kid. I didn't even watch it, but I knew of it. And in Transformers, everybody is a separate energy, but when they come together, they create something new. So this is what the Andromedans are teaching, that in this androgynous harmony, two sources become completely something new. So if you have a longing for your twin flame, or to find some part of yourself, it may be wise to look into Andromeda, go deep into this galaxy, because it will give you a lot of clear understanding on the longing. And it's important that we as star seeds on this earth plane become conscious of those longings, so we can at least simply become aware of them, so we're not feeling like a lack of wholeness in our individuality or our energy field. And ironically, when we become aware of that and release it, we normally attract our soulmate, or whatever you want to call it, twin flame or partner, etc. So I implore you all to, if you have these energies, to simply become aware of them, and to know that awareness and even the uncomfortability with feeling those parts of you is allowing for restructuring of your energy field, because you are always connected to the source wherever you are, with your twin partner or whatever or not. And in this holographic reflection based universe, when that comes into alignment, you start to pull forth beings who are tailored to your frequency or tailored to your soul evolution. So there's just so much power, family, in becoming aware of our field and understanding the dynamics between our masculine and feminine. Some of the stuff I've worked with personally in my life is, since we all have this feminine aspect and masculine aspect within ourselves, because we're split individually on this reality, there is great power when we begin to have a dialogue with these aspects of ourselves and fuse them into wholeness. So I've actually done a ceremony for my masculine and feminine to marry each other, or for the Shiva and Shakti within myself to harmonize and marry each other in union. And it's a really long story, but let's just say it wasn't planned. I just heard the message to wear all white, and then I ended up in one of my sacred spots beside two massive old growth trees that I would meditate by. And here, these two old growth trees that have been growing beside each other for hundreds of years, just feeling their communication. And that's where the ceremony took place. So that sacred marriage, that tantric union, it begins in ourselves. And just like the Transformers, they start off as individuals, but when they come as whole, they create something new. And or like a key and a lock, it opens a field. And this opening of your field begins with harmonizing aspects of yourself into one collective. So may you connect with your inner Shiva, may you connect with your inner Shakti, and work with the energy, because from a spirit plane, there's always harmony, but we're also born into this earth school where we have the genetic residue of our mother and father line. And from the shamanic perspective, which is the more grounded spirituality, we also have to harmonize our mother father line. So we're rippling forth a different frequency in our essence of the now. And there are many tools you can use to harmonize your mother father line. I do something called 7 generational clearing. I was taught by an indigenous elder, Grandma Karina, and it's been one of my most go-to practices in my one of my most go-to practices to heal genetics. And how it works is, I could do a meditation this at another time, but it's just so powerful. So you tap into your frequency, whether your eyes are open or in meditative state, because you don't need to be in meditation to do healing. I just do a lot of these meditations because so you could feel it more clearly. But you could also engage in these practices in waking state. So I just want to let you all know, because in this course there's a lot of inner focus meditation, but that's not the only way. So you enter that sacred space, sacred sanctuary, and what you're trying to do is, if you feel something off in your field, I normally scan my body and maybe track a specific place where something feels off, or I'm getting like a residue that's not in alignment with my highest frequency. I become aware of it. There's a power to non-judgment, so always meet your field with non-judgment. So scan your field, find a place that maybe is getting your attention. And if you sense there's a genetical residue, it's hard to explain that, but if you just feel like it's more human than like soul level and is connected with family, you can essentially open into the quantum field and trace back all your ancestors of that line to find a specific ancestor that is not carrying that code. And when you find that ancestor who's not carrying that code, you lock into their frequency and you begin to send it forth to the ancestors ahead, eventually hitting your present moment self. And in your present moment self, you send it forward 7 generations. So it could be beyond 7 generations, but they call it 7 generational healing. And oftentimes, this, being in my field and becoming aware of ancestral clearings, sometimes I have to go back like 50 lifetimes, in the ancestral line, to find a codec that is pure and not been corrupted. And how I normally sense I've found the right ancestor is I normally feel like a glowing light, or I feel a vibration where it's like, okay, I've locked into the right source, and now I could send that frequency forward through myself and forward 7 generations. And if you start to do this practice, it's advanced, but we're all advanced on this plane. Pretty much when you're in a tapped in state, you can do anything. It just comes down to how creative you could be and how open, right? So I've had like instant clearings, releasing stuff maybe my ancestors have had for, carried for 50 life generations and beyond. And this is the power of this time star family, that we can literally access the quantum field. We can access our genetics and begin to restructure it, begin to recode it. And it's just so important to know we're not victims, even though sometimes we could feel like that, and that's cool too. We're not going to judge ourselves, but we have so much ability with our consciousness to rewrite our reality and rewrite our genetical code and pass that forward to the next generations, whether if you have kids or in the quantum database, where when we're clearing this, we're pretty much gifting it to the collective. So this is the service work of our time, and it connects with Andromeda and the androgynous frequency, because a lot of sort of road bumps we have, everything's perfect, of course, but we're still in a plane and there's some parts that are not optimal. You could use these tools to open up the field. So I highly encourage you all to explore the seventh generational clearings. And if anyone needs any guidance, or maybe if you have to do a Zoom call again to do this work, I'll be happy to, because once you know how to do this, you can really make great change in your physical reality. And this is the way of the feminine spirituality that I often mention, because the feminine is Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is the flesh, is the ancestral genetics. And this is why the earth honoring cultures, the indigenous cultures, they are the ones who access these shamanic clearings. They're the ones who access the ancestral work, because they were tapped in to the grounded level of reality. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, and let's just see what else we got here. Okay, so much information, right? It's just never ending. We could do 2 parts on Andromeda. So they taught me a manifestation technique, and they also taught me about a specific planet that I want to speak about today. I'm not really sure if it's a planet or a star. I'm hearing it's like a celestial body. And sorry, I'm just gonna move my cat because my cat's going crazy right now. So they took me to a place called Cassiopeia. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And when we opened this course, I shared the story how on the new star, humans coming to Earth. And just to refresh your memory, my spiritual teacher, Dharmapa Rinpoche, he told me a story that he was with his guide in the universe. He didn't know where he was, and he was at a museum where all the species of all time were lined up. And beside the human, there was a blank space. And he asked his guide, why is there a blank space beside the human? And this guy told him, because a new race is coming to the earth. And after visiting Cassiopeia, I have no doubt that this museum was in Andromeda, because Andromeda is just so highly evolved. So Cassiopeia is a very unique place. And just like we explored the Akashic records to obtain soul information, retrieve stuff from the knowledge-based level, due to Andromeda operating in a higher frequency, rather than written scriptures, rather than visions, knowledge is held within sound data banks. And in Cassiopeia, they have a museum that is like the Akashic records of sound. So it's a very fascinating place. And when I visited there and accessed these different sort of sound frequencies, I became deeper in awareness that the sound is the building blocks to reality, like the author said. And when you begin to understand different sounds, when you begin to be aware of how certain sounds vibrate you and certain sounds do a different dance, you begin to gain a tool to pull forth specific sound frequencies and heal yourself and heal the earth around you. And Cassiopeia is really the place for sound healing. It's really the center for the human to tap into their sound wave knowledge and begin to use that to shapeshift reality. It's so important. This is like freaking huge. If you are feeling like there's no hope, if you're feeling that our earth is in a bad place or you're in a bad place, you have to begin in these moments to tap into the power of your sound by singing forth what you wish into existence, or humming or harmonizing the frequency of the vibration that you wish to create. And this vibration is going to intermingle with this entire field of all that is, and your reality is going to start shape shifting. And this is what the sound data banks in Cassiopeia are instructing all us. And we're going to actually visit there today in our activation, that the human has been given a tool of voice. And we really have to understand it from an enlightened context and a powerful context. So, like, for example, like sex, for example, if it's, you could use it in a good way and it could be like so powerful, you could tap into all of creation. And sound offers that huge, immense potential if the individual knows how to work with it. So I invite you all to start singing to your field. I already communicated, but sing to your field, sing to the world around you, and really start to impregnate reality with your sound codex. Because this is the way that we transform the plane. And we're going to be going to the Pleiadians next week. But I did a Pleiadian oracle deck, if anyone doesn't know. And one of the teachings the Pleiadians told me is they work a lot with the natives. They worked a lot with the indigenous cultures. Actually, if you connect or look at indigenous native stories, they say they come from the Seven Sisters. And there's a consistent in all native earth-based cultures around the world is that they use the power of prayer through singing to transform the reality. And to sing is the original teachings of our species. So family, it's not just entertainment. Of course, we could dance, we could move, but also we could use it for metaphysical science lab. We could use it to shape shift matter. We could use it to heal our body, heal our cells, and transform our temple. So there's infinite potential. We're just getting started. But I just wanted to plant that seed, really, because that's what Cassiopeia wants from us. And it's just incredible to feel this library of sound. And they actually, in Andromeda, which is so freaking cool, I got this information shortly before. They know how to contain sound and then send it. So in this, I guess, dimensional field, when we speak sound, we have control of our voice, but we can't like keep sound in a jar, or we can't like hold sound. But in the seventh dimensional plane, sound has an ability to hold, and you can release it at certain times or hold it at certain times. The beauty of this is it's the way that Andromedans get knowledge. They don't read books. They don't, have rock language. In the seventh dimensional field, the frequency of sound that is contained is how they access everything they seek to access. So powerful. And this being, right before I entered this Zoom call today, told me that when you contain sound, you can code it with a frequency, and when you code it, you can release it. So I was like, whoa, this is way beyond me. I need to experience this. So I try to contain the vibration of sound rather than the audio. So I speak a word. And when I speak a word, I kind of feel the vibration of these certain words. So I could like clone it and then put like certain frequency and release it back out. I'm still kind of figuring this out, but maybe one of you is going to really hone this technology for what it is. Because according to this being, when we fuse our intention with sound, we could pretty much open dimensional portals. We could open up dimensional gateways to Andromeda and beyond. And this is where our species is headed right now. It's clear that all the teachers of this time and the future are musicians. It's clear that all the ones who are here to awaken consciousness understand sound, because it is a fabric, it is a building block of this reality. And when I tapped into Cassiopeia, it's clear that the Hathors have a deep connection to Andromeda. And I forget the information, but I believe they told me they came from Andromeda. I'll have to double check that. But either way, the frequency of sound is powerful. And the musicians, I know Lahini is a musician. I told you all to check out her video. It was awesome. The musicians are actually sending sound codecs into the field, and they're awakening consciousness right now by releasing these sacred frequencies. And these sacred frequencies they're beyond logical. So it's not like, okay, a sacred frequency is somebody who sings like an angel or sings like a Tibetan throat. It could be literally anything. It could be hip hop. It could be any form of music, but they have a frequency embedded into it. And the frequency embedded is actually the most powerful ingredient. Like, you've all cooked food before, and when you have a really good dish, and you ask like, what are the ingredients? And it's pretty normal ingredients, but the person put a lot of love into the food, and then it's just elevated to the next level. And this is the power of music. It opens up a seed container where you could put your intentions, you could put your frequency, and that intention is going to intermingle with the field all around you. And this is how our planet is gonna awaken. So I'm going a lot of places, but this is just all coming clear. And may you this week, when you're having a conversation with somebody, when you're singing in the shower, when you're, who knows where you are, may you attempt to, before you open your vocal cords, to connect with an intention. connect with what you want to code this reality with. And by having that coded intention, you're going to transform this field greatly and shapeshift the plane. So I think that's enough for talking, and I think it's time to do our activation. You guys came at the perfect time. And yeah, so let's go on a little journey to the place called Cassiopeia. And yeah, I'll let you all experience it for yourself. Okay. So let's just all get comfortable. Just gonna put in some music. Inviting you to put your feet to the earth. Begin to connect with our glorious planet, our divine, alive earth. And as you do, inviting you to let go, allowing gravity to surrender you now. Surrendering, knowing gravity is in charge right now. And as this gravity weighs us down, connects us to Earth, just inviting you to think of your gratitude for the planet, this gratitude for this alive plane that has given us life, given us oxygen and food. And let's just root down with our gratitude to Earth. Saying thank you, Pachamama, Gaia. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And as this gratitude opens, seeing roots anchor you into the earth plane. Feeling your roots from your sit bone going deeper and deeper. Going so deep that it weaves into the crystalline cores. Great light, the crystalline cores of central Earth. And you feel this alive core intermingling with your roots. And allowing your tree of light to be grounded as you bring the energy back up into your earth body, bringing it up. Feel yourself stretching like a great tree. A great tree of light. And this great tree of life is very aware of sound. Could feel the vibration of sound. Can receive sound as light and energy. And as you sensitize to the field of sound, your crown chakra begins to open, and all your energy gateways begin to open, opening your field into the entire field all around you now. Feeling this awareness around you expand into the room, expand to your entire house, apartment, wherever you are. Expand to the entire biosphere, the sky, expand into the entire planet. And opening deeper and further to our solar system, and into our entire Milky Way galaxy. Om Shanto Som Shanta Shamana Shantom Shantyom. And as we feel this Milky Way galaxy, we're going to ask for our consciousness to open even further to the frequency of Andromeda. Shramana Shantam Shantom Omana Shantam Sham Om Shantya Shanda Shamom. Feeling Andromeda intermingle with your field now. Ota Shama Shata Shamo Shamoto Ona Shatam Shantyom. And as you begin to enter this galaxy now, you request to be guided to Cassiopeia, specific plane, planet. Omana Shanti Omana Shatom Ona Shama Shantom Sham. And this is a planet that vibrates sound. Ona Shama Shantyom Ona Shama Shanta Sham. You feel the vibrational frequency of this sound that this planet emits, and it pulls you into its orbit. Shantyom Shantyom Om. Into the planetary biosphere. Om Shantyom. Simply allowing this energy to intermingle with your awareness. Calling on all these Andromedan frequencies to begin to enter in your awareness, teaching you on the frequency of sound. May the teachings of sound from Cassiopeia begin to meet your field in vibration. It's okay if nothing comes mentally, just feel the vibration, knowing that this connection is opening. A sound field Om mani shata shamata shamata shamata. Onyata shamata shamata shamatata. Onyata shamata shamatata. Om mani shata shamata sham. Feeling the sound of light language from Andromeda. Onna shata shamalon shatom tasha. Onna shatom shaya shamatom. Awakening your awareness on sound vibration. Shanti Om Shanti Om Atom Shan Oma Shata Shamatatom. Open into the Akashic field to be downloaded with the intelligence and teachings of sound from Andromeda. Oma Shata Shamata 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 Unta Shata Shamana Shata Shamata Sha O Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Omana Shata Shamata Sha. Feeling this frequency intermingling with your cells and DNA. Om Shanti Om. Feeling it intermingling with the field all around you. And asking for these Andromedan frequencies to be downloaded and embedded to all your cells now with an inhale. Breathing these into our being and temple. Feeling the vibration of sound bouncing in our field. Feeling an opening for genetical storylines to meet the galactic origins. Opening this energy into all our ancestors. Om Shata Shamata Shamat Shamanta Sham Om Shanti Om Sham 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 Sham. Spreading past future now. Shanti Om Shanti Om. The teachings of cosmic awareness. Om Na Shanta Shamata Shamata Shanta Shamata. Om Na Sham 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 Sham. Feeling these is being passed forward, past future to all your ancestors. And feeling the collective of all your ancestors present as one energy, merging with this Andromedan frequency. DNAs from many ancestors transforming to crystalline structure as we awaken the past and future. Om Nashata Shamanta Shamanta Shamanta. Om Nashata Shamanta Shamanta. Om Nashata Shamatam Shum. And harmonizing that by becoming aware of your heart space and breathing in all the frequencies, past, future, into your collective heart space, your quantum device of heart. The heart opens into its quantum awareness. Knowing you're infinite. Feeling this infinite connect with your finite human. for you. Infinites. Creating a clear connection between Andromeda and your crown chakra. And allowing that to rain into your being from your crown, coming into your skull and neck, just going like a DNA strands down your entire essence, connecting to all your neural network, opening your neural network to the cosmic network. You are tapped in to the infinite. To begin to keep this energy in you, inviting you to open up your root lock, bandha, by squeezing the sexual organs, and allow that energy to stay in your essence as long as you can hold, intermingling with your cells and blood, DNA, opening into the new human. You are love. You are the truth. Walk what you're knowing. Be the all-knowing one. You already know. Embody that truth. While having self-kindness and self-compassion. Can you be a warrior of truth while maintaining self-love, self-kindness? Can you fuse the warrior with the self-love? Can you allow them to blend like gases and colors on a canvas, fusing together, becoming the warrior of the heart? The warrior of love. Your love is powerful. May you use it to serve. May you use it to transform your reality and understand your voice fused with intention opens all, seeds the field. We want you to seed the field with your prayers, with your visions, with your songs of tomorrow and past. The heart will open it all. We are one, we are one, we are one. The Andromeda family, flight of oneness, no separation, Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, family. And you can begin to feel your root bone to the earth, feeling that original connection of roots to the core. And when you're aware of that, allow it to vacuum all that frequency into your root and into the cores of Pachamama, vacuuming it all, vacuuming Andromeda frequency into the cores of Mother Earth, distributing this dimensional knowledge to all that is on Earth. It's a time to share. It's a time to spread. Group consciousness is the way. We are in a group consciousness right now. We're in a group consciousness with many beings. Many beings are aware, we're aware. This is an alive planet, can't you see? When you expand your consciousness, like the Transformers, one turns into something greater. We're Transformers. So it is. And you could give yourself a hug if you wish, or just give yourself some love with your physical, maybe a massage or patting. But let's just really honor the sacred temple we've been given, because we need this temple for our work here. So may you honor your physical temple. May you be a starseed and also play like a little child on Earth. Love you, family. Stay posted. Let's stay connected. I get the feeling this is going to be a very powerful week. I just have a strong feeling with this activation. May you explore sound. Yeah. And it's clear the pyramids were made from sound in this moment. It's clear that sound pulled the pyramids into harmonic resonance, just like a crystal ball will put grains of rice into specific frequencies. When you play around it, the vibration organizes the field. And this is how the pyramids were created, sound. So can you see the power of sound? It organizes your field. When the field is off, use sound. If you're in an environment where something feels off, play the drum or crystal bowls or tone, and really tap into your mastery of how to use sound, because sound is the next frontier for our collective, and the Andromedans are opening that doorway to the knowledge you already hold. I'm excited. If you get any information on sound, please share with me, because we're all learning together and we're a database. And if one person shares, another person remembers, and we just continually grow. So I appreciate any experiences anybody has, whether live or in the meditations. And yeah, let's continue to grow as one star family. I'm going to stop this recording. Aloha.
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 Have a great week. And yeah, expect, at least you guys expect the email soon.